Just like I was saying in the last video, I really would like to spark some conversation. I want to hear people's opinions and thoughts on things in gaming, and I was going to do something else entirely different for this episode, but I got a random inspiration from a conversation with someone I had on the internet, and I really want to hear from you, the audience. What is your top 5 all-time favorite games? I totally do not want to do a, hey guys, here's my top 5 favorite games, YouTube gallery kind of personality. I want to quickly go over what my top 5 games are, just so you have an idea of what I'm looking for. Like, I want to know, what are your top 5 games? Like, here's the most influential games, or the most favorite games. It's just, it's such a neat, compact little slice of your personality embedded in a little list. So, without further ado, I want to get started. When it comes to my top 5 favorites, I'm going to do it in the least fun way possible, and I'm going to start with number 1. My number 1 most wonderful, favorite, lovey, oh my god game that I would do anything for, and I love you, is Bioshock. Like, the original Bioshock. I love that game so much just because it was the first time that the game kind of felt like the mechanics and everything took a back seat to the story. It was a really sad game, and it was a horror game, but it's also a shooter game that made you think, and it was crazy, and I love it, and it's my favorite game of all time. My second favorite game is gonna have to be definitely Bloodborne. Discovered it recently, but the amount that game makes you feel so much for so little, it drives me crazy. I love it so much. I was just kind of going over what it was about that game that I love so much, and it's weird. I have a strange fascination with sadness, and that game makes me so sad. No matter what you do in that game, you just can't win. There's no good way out. There's no do the right thing. Like, you try to save one person and they end up getting killed, and I don't want to, whatever, just go play the game. It's fantastic. And like, you never feel like you're given anything. You have to earn everything you do, and it's so good because of it. My next game on my list is gonna be Chrono Trigger, the original Chrono Trigger from Super Nintendo. I mean, they didn't remake it, of course, the original. That's another one of those games that was like really surprisingly emotional for me. The character of Chrono being a faceless, voiceless character, and the rest of the party being so developed, and I don't know. I just really love that game. There were a lot of really feely kind of moments in that game. I guess, like what I said in the last one with Bloodborne, the reason I love it so much is because it makes you feel so much sadness. I think this game, I love it so much because it makes me feel other things. I guess. I don't know. Games with lots of feels make me happy and joyous, and Chrono Trigger definitely does that really well. Also, Lavos, the bad guy in the game, he's got the most classic form of bad guy introduction, like, surprise, I'm a bad guy, and then you introduce him later in the game, and oh, surprise, he's still there, and then you go to the past, and oh, here's where he came from, he's still there. It's like they constantly keep reminding you that Lavos is a perpetual threat, and he is scary. The weight of his presence is just, it's so good, it's nuts. The next game after that, I think we're down to number 4, is going to be Shadow of the Colossus. So Shadow of the Colossus is one of my all-time favorite games. I think I actually should have put this at number 2 or something. I don't know, 5 list of games. But Shadow of the Colossus is like one of my favorite games because it's another one of those games that it doesn't tell you what it's trying to do. Like, the basic story is, oh, lady is hurt, lady needs revival, you be hero, you get to bring her back to life. But the subtext is insane. It's telling you to go out and kill these innocent creatures. Well, supposedly innocent creatures. You don't really know. You're just like, hey, go kill these giant things. And then when you go kill those giant things, there's all this sad music. And I mean, they didn't instigate a fight. You jumped on them and started stabbing them in the face. So it's like so bass-ackwards. I love it. And then, of course, as you go on, you're seeing what you're doing. You're starting to deal with the morality of killing innocent creatures, I guess. And it's so sad. And keeping with the theme of Nate, I like feeling feels from my games. So this game made me feel a lot of feels every time you kill one of those things. It's like, oh no. It's like when you see a puppy or a kitty hurt, you're just like, no, I want to coddle it. But in the game, you have to kill it. It's so... But I love it. And number 5, I guess the last one on my list is going to be Undertale. Again, sticking with the theme of games that make me feel feels. Undertale is all about the feels, and the music is insane, and it's really good, and whatever. So I feel like a lot of the gaming culture, when you get together with strangers at cons, when you meet someone in a bar randomly who also you find out is into games, one of the first things that come up is like, hey, what are some of your favorite games, or what's your favorite moments in games, or whatever. It's kind of a go-to conversation, like an icebreaker or whatever. And I feel like that's awesome because it tells you so much about that person just based on their interests that you wouldn't normally get from, I don't know, I guess you would get it from like, what's your favorite movie or what's your favorite book, but maybe just in the gaming culture. I feel like everyone understands games so much in the gaming culture that when you say, hey, Chrono Trigger is my favorite game, immediately people who have played that game or understand what Chrono Trigger's cultural significance is will be able to go, hey, okay, so you're this type of person, you like JRPGs, you're into interesting plots, and why would you say Chrono Trigger over Final Fantasy, for example, or Secret of Mana, or other JRPGs? And there's like a little flavor that comes with it, so you get a taste of that person's personality. And very much like my top 5 favorite games of all time, you, viewer, just got a taste of my personality. Here is Nate on a nice little platter of 5 items that are like scones, but different flavor of scones and cookies. I don't know, something. You fill in the rest of this metaphor. I'm done. But how about you? More importantly, from what I started this whole thing on, I want to hear from you. What are your top 5 all-time favorite games? You don't even really have to tell me why. I just am interested in seeing it because when I see your top 5 all-time favorite games, I feel like I'll get to know you a little better. Leave that top 5 list in comment below, or tweet at me. I'm trying to start to be one of them kids who use the Twitters and stuff and understand that culture. So do that. I'll see your thing, and thanks for listening.